The iron rod is 12 inches long and 3/4 inch diameter. Cold, dark, rough with mill scale. In 4 hours, a Ballista bolt head, pyramidal point, square socket, exactly 6 ounces. One of 12 Firmus will forge today. One of 175,200 he has forged in 40 years. Titus Aelius Firmus knows every one of those numbers. He counts, not obsessively, methodically. The count measures his career, not years served, but bolts forged. Each held, heated, hammered, shaped, tempered, sharpened, weighed, passed. Each equals 20 minutes of his life. 20 minutes per head, 12 per day. A rhythm unchanged in 40 years. Same forge, same anvil, same hammer. Handle replaced 11 times, head reshaped twice. The workshop has changed. New walls, younger workers, a system demanding volume he cannot match. His bench remains.
Keep it steady. Not yet. Focus.
If the craft behind the deadliest projectile weapon in the Roman arsenal fascinates you, subscribe now. The battle between one man's perfection and the empire's demand for volume will change everything you think about ancient manufacturing.
I make 12 bolts a day, always 12. The iron requires 20 minutes of heat, hammer, quench. Rushing produces brittle points that shatter on armour. Taking longer improves nothing. 20 minutes is what the iron needs. 12 bolts, every day.
The Fabrica at Lauriacum, Danube Frontier's primary military production center. 80 smiths, 20 carpenters, 10 leatherworkers. Bolts, swords, armor. The Bolt Workshop, 12 forges, 12 anvils, 12 smiths. Firmus is senior, 20 years now. Frontier demand, 30,000 bolts per year. 12 smiths times 12 per day times 300 days equals 43,200. Surplus, comfortable. Until Trajan's Dacian Wars, demand triples. 90,000 bolts per year. 12 smiths at 12 cannot produce 90,000. The system must change. The bolt head begins as rod. Firmus heats the first 4 inches, black to red to cherry to bright orange. At approximately 900 degrees Fahrenheit, soft enough to shape, firm enough to hold form. First strokes form the taper, round rod hammered on the diagonal, each blow turning 90 degrees. 4 faces, equal angle, point centered on the axis. An off-center point equals eccentric spin equals accuracy lost after 50 yards. Firmus checks against a bronze template, triangular notch at exact angle. The point fits. Beyond the taper, 3-inch penetrating section. Behind, the socket. Hollow cylinder formed by upsetting iron, thickening by end-on blows, then punching with a tapered drift.
The socket must grip the shaft without splitting it. Interior tapered, wider at mouth, narrower at base. Shaft inserted, socket crimped, 2 taps on opposite sides. Wrong taper, crimp cracks the shaft. Loose crimp, head flies off during discharge.
Each head weighed, a balance, 2 pans, one carrying a bronze weight that has sat on his bench for 40 years. 6 ounces, plus or minus 1/4 ounce. Heavier equals drops too quickly. Lighter equals insufficient penetration. 6 ounces plus 15-ounce shaft plus 2-ounce fins equals 23-ounce bolt flying 400 yards from a 3-span ballista. Standardized production doesn't weigh individually. Die-forged heads vary plus or minus 1 ounce. 1 ounce changes flight. A 7-ounce head drops 6 inches lower at 200 yards. 6 inches equals chest versus belt.
The mark of a test completed. The craftsman's account. Subscribe now for
The proof range, 200 yards east. Cleared grass, markers every 50 yards, compacted earth backstop, 3-span ballista on a fixed platform. Every batch tested, 3 bolts per batch. Firmus's bolt, loaded. Wooden shaft in the groove, iron head forward, fins against the trigger bar. Ballista wound to standard tension. Fire, arm swing, slider drives forward, bolt exits at approximately 200 feet per second, arcing in a clean parabola, flight clean, slow rotation on the longitudinal axis, fin stabilized, the point describing a straight line. Impact, 380 yards, buries 8 inches in compacted earth, point undamaged. Firmus marks his tally. Standard production bolt, same conditions, different flight, visible yaw, wobble during the first 50 yards before fins stabilize. The wobble costs energy, costs range. Impact, 350 yards, 30 yards shorter, point intact but socket slightly deformed, crimping not as precise, shaft shifting during acceleration.
30 yards. My bolt flies 30 yards further. At 300 yards, 6-inch circle versus 12-inch circle. The difference is point symmetry, weight precision, socket fit. The difference takes me 20 minutes. His bolt takes 7.
When the standardization order arrives from Rome, 30 bolts per smith per day by imperial directive, the battle between one man's perfection and the system's need for volume reaches its final act. Subscribe. The craftsman's decision will surprise you. The mathematics are brutal. 12 smiths times 12 equals 4,300 per year, or 12 times 30 equals 10,900. Same forges, same smiths. The order from Rome. Praefectus Fabrum. Standardized bolt production. Die forging. Minimum 30 per smith per day. Templates, die specs, quality thresholds. Quality thresholds. Weight plus or minus 1.5 ounces, not plus or minus 0.25. Point symmetry plus or minus 15 degrees, not plus or minus 3. Socket taper plus or minus 2/3 standard, not exact. Set at the system's level, not the craftsman's. Firmus reads the order, not anger, recognition. He's watched the shift for a decade. The junior smiths, the dies, the doubling demand, the arithmetic. 12 perfect bolts cannot supply a frontier consuming 90,000 per year.
The system is right. The numbers are right. 90,000 per year requires production I cannot provide, that craftsmanship cannot sustain. 30 per day meets demand, 12 does not.
He doesn't switch to die forging. The fabrica assigns him quality inspector, checking standardized bolts against thresholds, a balance and a gauge. He rejects 14%, overweight, off-center, socket loose. In the evenings, after inspection, after the fabrica closes, he returns to his forge, lights the fire, heats a rod, makes a bolt. One bolt, 20 minutes. The same rhythm, the same 6-ounce perfection. The cost? Irrelevance. The system produces 90,000 per year. Firmus, 365. His bolts are measurably better. The system doesn't need them. The 30-yard difference disappears at the ranges where combat actually occurs. Both are true. The frontier needs 90,000 adequate. The craft needs 1 perfect. The system serves the frontier. The craftsman serves the craft. The frontier doesn't care about perfection. The craft doesn't care about quotas. He counts 175,567. 40 years of 12 plus 1 year of 1. Every bolt weighed. Every bolt held in hands that know exactly what 6 ounces feels like. The system will inherit the fabrica. The count belongs to him. The perfect bolt flies 30 yards further into air that doesn't remember who forged the point. But the point is centered. The weight is right, and the craftsman's hands know, even when no one else does.